Hi everybody, Haldiram is one of the most iconic brands in Indian business history. And while most of us are taught about the American icons like Dominos and McDonald's, very few of us know about the world-class business strategies developed by the homegrown brands of India. And Haldiram is one such brand that started as a small sweet shop in Bikaner, but today it has expanded its presence in more than 80 countries, employs more than 1,500 people, and in FY19 alone, Haldiram generated a sales revenue of $1 billion. The question is, while we see thousands of sweet shops every single day, what exactly was so particularly special about Haldiram that they were able to build $1 billion business? What exactly was their business strategy? And as students of business, what are the lessons that we need to learn from this iconic brand? This video is brought to you by my Billbook, but more on this at the end of the video. This is a story that dates back to 1919 Bikaner, when Haldiram was just 11 years old. He worked at his grandfather's Bhujia shop, and being a marwadi, he soon enough started finding ways to make money for his family. Back then, Bhujia in Bikaner was an extremely commoditized product. Which means what? Since there were hundreds of Bhujia shops in Bikaner, there was hardly any difference between their products. Therefore, the competition was solely based on the price and not on quality. During this time, Haldiram would take up odd jobs such as chopping and cleaning the kitchen, and he gradually began to take interest in the making of the Bhujia. Originally, the tasty Bhujia was actually made by one of the daughter-in-laws of the family, and soon enough, Haldiram's grandfather realized the potential of this product and he took it to the market. And as soon as this product hit the market, the Bhujia started selling very well. And as soon as they started making more money, the entire family was extremely happy. But Haldiram was the only member who was not at all satisfied neither with the penny profits nor with the taste and quality of their product. Because deep down, he still felt that Bhujia was not good enough and he wanted to make something that was far away from the rest of the competition. And he wanted his product to be not just yet another Bhujia among the hundreds of Bhujias in the market. And right away, driven by this insane obsession for a high quality product, this little boy started working very hard and started experimenting with different ingredients in search of a mind-blowing product. And that is when, many iterations later, Haldiram was able to make 3 changes to the Bhujia that changed the destiny of his family forever. The first change he made was that instead of making Bhujia out of besan, he started making it out of moth ki dal. And this made Bhujia extremely delicious, turning it into a delicacy overnight. In addition to that, instead of making them soft, he started making them into fine crispy mixture so that it could give people an enhanced experience of eating Bhujia, and at the same time, it could make the customers feel something different from the conventional Bhujia sold in Bikaner. Secondly, because this Bhujia was extremely commoditized, he started selling his Bhujia at a 150% extra cost at 5 paise per kilo as compared to the market price, which was just 2 paise per kilo. And lastly, he named his Bhujia as Dangar Sev, which was named after the then Maharaja Dangar Singh. And these 3 changes, ladies and gentlemen, gave Haldiram 3 superpowers over his extremely crowded competition. Firstly, the name Dangar by default made this Bhujia sound like a delicacy that people would want to try. And this is because, although the name Dangar did not have any connection to the Maharaja, it acted like a brand ambassador for the Bhujia. Therefore, the perceived value of the product was enhanced by a large extent. Secondly, because of this increased perceived value, people did not mind paying 3 paise extra because they by default assumed that they were buying a premium product. And third and most importantly, after people paid the premium for the Bhujia, after perceiving it as a better product, when they actually tasted it, the Bhujia genuinely turned out to be absolutely delicious. As a result, the demand for Haldiram's Dangar Sev skyrocketed within just a few weeks. If you see, this is a textbook execution of one of the most powerful principles of marketing, which says that brand perception plus a tangible value delivery results into brand value. In this case, by hearing the name of Dangar Maharaj, Haldiram's Bhujia attracted more customers due to the enhanced perceived value. After that, when it actually tasted great, customers and wholesalers did not mind paying 3 paise extra per kilo. So if you see, the 3 paise extra or the 150% premium cost was the brand value of Haldiram's Bhujia. And this turned Haldiram's Bhujia into a leading product in a highly commoditized Bhujia market. And within no time, hundreds of kilos of Haldiram's Bhujia started to be sold. This was the founding pillar of the incredible Haldiram story. The second pillar of Haldiram's growth was actually laid by Mr. Shiv Kishan Agarwal in the late 1960s, and he belonged to the third generation in the Agarwal family. Until this point, the Agarwal family had separated into three discrete businesses, which were in Bikaner, Kolkata and Nagpur. And while Bikaner and Kolkata were doing very well, Shiv Kishan was struggling to sell Bhujia in Nagpur because the demand for snacks in general was not very high in Maharashtra. Therefore, he decided to take a step back and got back on the ground to do a thorough market research about the food habits of the Maharashtrians. And that is when, after making countless visits to the most popular stores in Nagpur, Shiv Kishan identified three major opportunities in the market. The first thing he realized was that Maharashtrians had not been exposed to more than a few savory snacks. And this presented him with a huge opportunity to be a first mover in the market. But at the same time, just like any other first mover, the trust factor or the hesitancy of the people was a major obstacle for market penetration. The second gap he identified was in the sweets market, and he noted that the most popular shops in Maharashtra mostly sold only bhalushas, Gujarati pedas, Mysore pak and laddus. This is when he realized that the Maharashtrians definitely had a sweet tooth that could be exploited further. And thirdly, Shiv Kishan realized that because the variety of sweets available in Maharashtra was very less, there was immense scope for hundreds of sweet delicacies from other regions that could be leveraged for market penetration. So guess what? He started by making his favorite sweet using thickening milk, sugar, dry fruits, cashew nuts and saffron. And this is what, ladies and gentlemen, gave rise to the iconic Kaju Katli in Maharashtra. And Shiv Kishan started aggressively promoting the dish by giving out free samples and by encouraging every customer to taste the dish. Soon enough, the word of mouth spread and the sweet began to achieve extraordinary levels of popularity. In fact, in one of the interviews, Shiv Kishan said that it first started with people buying 100 grams, then it went up to 200 grams and gradually people started buying 500 grams of Kaju Katli per customer. In fact, the flavor was so well accepted and loved that they were flooded with demands for Kaju Katli. Soon enough, he introduced the locals to the delights from Bikaner and Kolkata like Malai Laddu, Rasgulla and Rasmalai. And not so surprisingly, his Maharashtrian customers couldn't get enough of Haldiram Bhujia Wala sweets. And within just 3 years, their sales shot up by 400%, going from just 100 rupees per day to 500 rupees per day, which in today's world is, by the way, equivalent to 12,000 rupees of sales per day. Now, while most of us would be extremely satisfied with this crazy amount of sales, Shiv Kishan did not stop there. After serving the market further, he realized that South Indian snacks like dosa and idli were extremely popular in Nagpur. So he immediately started a South Indian restaurant for customer acquisition reasons, and when more and more people started visiting his restaurant, he slowly introduced samosas and kachoris. And this time, it did not take a lot of time before samosas and kachoris became standard fast foods in Maharashtra. This is how Shiv Kishan achieved market penetration in a seemingly unknown market with his brilliant business strategies. Now, in business terms, what he basically did was that he built a golden bridge to move the customer sentiment from skepticism to delight. So initially, he was an unknown vendor selling unknown dishes, because of which people were skeptical. As a result, market penetration was extremely difficult. So what did he do? He first started selling known dishes and established the trust with the customers. And as soon as he earned the trust of the customers, he brought in the X factor that no other known vendor had, and that were the brilliant dishes which were completely unknown to the audience. As a result, the customers embraced his dishes with open arms. In fact, they were super delighted because the trusted guy was brilliant enough to present many new dishes while the rest of the known guys were presenting the same old stuff. This was the magic of Shiv Kishan's execution. And this is what brings me to the third pillar of Haldiram's growth, that was nothing but packaging and location. And these two changes were brought by another third generation member named Manohar Lal Agarwal. And when executed, it led to exponential sales because of something called brand recall value. Long story short, When you see a lot of guys delivering food wearing Zomato t-shirts, you automatically tend to believe that Zomato is a trusted brand. When you see a lot of images of the same book cover on social media and many other places, it is very likely that that might be the first book you read. A very simple example of the same would be Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People and The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. Similarly, when you see a lot of people buying or gifting Haldiram Bhujia wala sweets, they automatically become mini banner ads to make you feel that the Haldiram brand is extremely trusted. And this strategy, ladies and gentlemen, was a game changer back then because in the 1980s, nobody in the market took packaging seriously. So when Manohar Lal executed this strategy, Haldiram Bhujia wala was not just shipping thousands of products, but they also shipped thousands of mini billboards that made the brand stand out and established trust both with the customers and the sellers. And when this was combined with strategic placement of stores in densely populated places like the railway station, the sales numbers went crazy. To tell you about it, in just 5 years, by 1981, the production of Haldiram had shot up by 400% to 3,000 kilos per month. And people from all across the country came in and asked for Haldiram's Bhujia wala specifically. And soon enough, the brand logo started traveling through the lengths and breadths of the country. And this is when people of Bikaner and Nagpur knew that Haldiram Bhujia wala was not just a small sweet shop, but an iconic brand in the making. And from here onwards, despite many challenges, there was no looking back for the Haldiram brand. As a result, today Haldiram is a humongous brand valued at $3 billion with its signature dishes making impact not just in India, but in 80 countries all across the world. And this is how 3 generations of the Agarwal family laid a solid foundation to build a 5,000 crore business empire. And this is what brings me to the most important part of the episode, and that are the lessons from the case study and the study materials to help you read further about Haldiram. Before we move on, I wanted to tell you about this one skill of Haldiram's founder that I was personally fascinated by, and that was his focus on accounting and inventory management. Because these 2 factors are extremely critical for any business, irrespective of its size. And that is where our part of today's episode, My Bill Book, comes in. My Bill Book is an amazing billing and accounting solution that is available on both Android mobile and desktop. My Bill Book will take care of your GST, non-GST invoicing and billing along with inventory management. The best part is that it is a multi-user, multi-business platform, which means even if you have multiple businesses like a hotel, an edtech company and a farm, My Bill Book will generate insightful business reports according to each of your specific requirements to help you monitor all of your businesses at a glance. And one of the coolest features of this app is also the WhatsApp payment reminder, wherein you can share your UPI payment links with your customers and collect payments directly in your bank account. So if you're someone who wants to simplify your accounting with complete data security, download the My Bill Book app from the link in the description. Now let's talk about the lessons from the case study and the study materials to help you dive deeper. Lesson number 1. While most people think that there is no scope for brand building in a commoditized market, you need to realize that a commoditized market is perhaps the best place to build a brand. Because once you do it, you're going to stand out and that is going to skyrocket your sales in no time. In this case, it was Haldiram's acumen to build a brand name for his Bhujia among the hundreds of Bhujia sellers in Bikaner. Lesson number 2. While most of us love to play on our strengths, sometimes we need to realize that in order to play our strengths, we first need to cater to the demand in the market. In this case, if you see, even after 20 years of running a family business just around Bhujia, it was Shiv Keshan's strategic approach to first establish trust with the customers by selling sweets, and then he came full circle by selling South Indian snacks, eventually to sell North Indian dishes like samosa and kachori. And this eventually helped him stand out from the rest of the competition. And lastly, we all need to realize that healthy obsession often turns work into art. And regardless of what you do, if it is pursued with a certain degree of craftsmanship, even if you are selling something as seemingly insignificant as Bhujia, it can help you build a $1 billion business. And before I say goodbye, for further reading, I would highly recommend you to read this wonderful book called Bhujia Barons, which is what I referred while curating this content. That's all from my side for today, guys. If you learned something valuable, Please make sure to hit the like button in order to make YouTube Baba happy. And for more such insightful business and political case studies, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.